Today I want to do a quick comparison of two of my favorite rangefinder cameras. Both of them happen to be from the year 1954, the year which also Leica produced the famous, introduced the famous Leica M3 to the world, and which was quite revolutionary because it was really different from all the cameras before it. It had a much bigger viewfinder and better handling overall. This is the Nikon S2, which also came out in 1954. This camera is inspired by the old Contax rangefinder cameras in terms of body design and also in terms of the lens mount and this dial up here where you can focus the lens with your index finger, which is quite handy, but honestly I always focus like that and don't use this dial up here. Also it locks at infinity, which is a little bit annoying. Then you have to either use this button here to unlock it or use the dial on top where there's a little tiny tooth in there which unlocks it if you turn the wheel. Also when you set it to infinity you can change the lens, of course, but it is definitely not as easy like on the Leica M3 for example, or Leica M camera. Where you have a standard bayonet mount. Here you have the focusing on the camera itself, so no focus ring on the lens. On the lens is only the aperture, but the lens is really nice and compact. This is the 50mm 1.4, a very beautiful lens in my opinion. So that's the Contax mount. So I think you can use the Contax lenses and also the Soviet copies like the Kiev camera lenses on here as well. This camera also has a separated dial for fast speeds on top and slow speeds on the bottom. So if you want to use a slow speed you advance and then set it to 30th to 1 second, and then you use the dial at the bottom like 1/4 second, quarter second. It is really easy to use, very sturdy build. It has a really nice big viewfinder with a 50mm frame line inside. And one big advantage over the M3, you can remove the whole back side and load the film easily. So this is a very nice camera in my opinion. I really do enjoy it. And I think it is really good in comparison to the comparable to the Leica M3. This is the IVSb2, which also came out in 1954. I showed you this camera in other videos already because I like it so much. It's I think one of my all-time favorite cameras. But as you can see, I use an external viewfinder on top, and this is because the viewfinder is not as big and bright as the Nikon S2 or of course the Leica M3, and there's no frame line inside, so I use a 50mm viewfinder this is from Leica with a 50mm frame line inside. But the viewfinder is very usable as well I would say, especially if you don't use glasses, it would be just fine, I think, but no frame lines inside. You can zoom focus here. This is a zoom feature for easier range finder focus, which is quite handy. And this camera also has separated dials for fast and slow speeds. Slow speeds are down here, the fast are up here. But you also have to load the film through the bottom plate, like on the old Barnack Leica, so it's a bit cumbersome to use. You have to cut your film and insert it at the same time as the spool. It's a bit fiddly, I would say. Definitely not the fastest one. But all in all, it's a really, really nice and sturdy and heavy built camera, and a joy to use. But definitely I would say the Leica M3 and the Nikon S2 are a bit more advanced. There's one thing more I wanted to show you, which is the Canon VIT, which came out 4 years after the Leica M3, so in 1958. And this one, in my opinion, is a definitive answer from Canon to the Leica M3, because it also has 50mm frame lines inside with a big viewfinder, even a switchable viewfinder for 35mm, so one advantage here. And it has a hinge back, so it flips open. I can't show you because it's film inside. With the lever here, and the whole back flips open for easier film loading. Also, it has a combined shutter speed dial with all the speeds on one dial. And this very model is the VIT. The T stands for trigger, because it has the advanced lever down here, like a trigger. So there's also a VIL, which has a lever wind on top, like most other cameras. Thanks for watching.